بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. We extend our heartfelt condolences and grief to our holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his holy progeny alayhum assalam, and to our Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman on the martyrdom of his grandfather Imam Hussain alayhi salam. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant forgiveness, salvation, deliverance, dignity and prosperity to all the Muslims around the world. Ya Allah, make us share these moments of sorrow and anguish of Imam al-Hujjah, and when the Imam reappears, include us among his companions, so that we can avenge the atrocities that were heaped on Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam alongside Imam al-Hujjah ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On behalf of Madif Al Ameer, I would like to welcome you all to our program tonight. Before we commence, I'd like to share with you a few quick reminders. Firstly, please make sure that your cars are parked legally, and please ensure that your mobile phones are either switched off or on silent throughout the program. If you do have children, please keep them close to you. And most importantly, if you are feeling unwell or have flu-like symptoms, please do the right thing by staying home. This program will also be live on all of our social media platforms at Madif Al Ameer or on Nur Al Huda Australia, which is on YouTube and Facebook. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Every justice-seeking person can understand why we Muslims are morally obliged to remember the struggle of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. His martyrdom has taught us to be on the side of justice and to stand for the highest ethical and spiritual values, regardless of the consequences. Today, like many generations before us, we also keep the memory of Imam Hussain alayhi salam alive to cultivate and nurture Islamic conscience in each and every one of us, so that our children and their descendants remain committed to the cause of our Imam alayhi salam. Without further ado, brothers and sisters, please join me in welcoming our speaker for tonight, Nazan Hussain, with 3 of Ilar as-salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum ya Ali Madad. Let's recite a loud salawat, especially for the organizers who have done this tremendous effort besides their day-to-day activities. Let's recite a loud salawat for them. Salli ala Muhammad wa alayhi. Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Fatiha. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina wa habibi qulubina wa shafiyyi zunubina khatimin nabiyyin Abil Qasim Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ahli baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin al-ma'sumin al-muntajabin wa la'natullahi ala a'da'ihim ajma'in min yawmin hadha ila qiyam yawmiddin. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Tabarakalladzi biyadihil mulku huwa ala kulli shay'in qadirun lillazi khalaqal mauta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farj. Brothers and sisters, first of all, we thank our Imam of our time that he has blessed this opportunity for us to be here to commemorate the Muharram, and we thank Allah that we have survived this year in order to see the moon of the Muharram. We are really fortunate that we have gathered here. As you have heard, the ayat which I started is from the Surah Mulk, Tabarakalladzi biyadihil. Since I can see most of the audiences are Arabic here, so please excuse me, I come from the Asian background, so a little bit of pronunciation, ups and downs, I would seek forgiveness from you. However, the underlying meaning is what is essential for me to convey across tonight. So my lecture tonight will be 20 to 25 minutes at the most, so I will not be taking much of your time. In that, I will give you a little introduction about me, and then a little bit of fazail about Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and little bit masaib. So inshallah, 3 sections and something for the children as well. So a little about me is I am a technology project manager by background. However, my father was an alim, and for the last 650 years, they have been serving in India before they actually migrated from Arab. And my descendants, we are the descendants of the 4th Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. So that's a little bit about me, but being brought up under an alim and my passion to learn more and more about Imam Hussain alayhi salam is what has connected me to you today. And we also would like to specially thank Brother Faraj and Brother Karar and my brother Hamad, who actually brought me here tonight to address this occasion. The reason for telling me about my background is for the last 10 to 12 years I've been living in Singapore, and a lot of activities have been focused more on engaging with the youth of today who are from multi-ethnic and multinational, and there are a lot of people who are reverts and who have mixed backgrounds. And you know the kind of society we live in, there's a lot of challenges, there's social media, and this heavy scrutiny for every action that we do today. No matter what we do, everything is being scrutinized and being evaluated. As a result, the children are being very conscious about their action and their statuses and the kind of profiles they put up. Let's recite aloud salawat before we get going tonight. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. The ayat, let me just get straight to the majlis. As we said, the ayat of Surah Mulk, Tabarakalladzi biyadihil mulku wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadirun lillazi khalaqal mauta wal hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala. Why did I choose this? The ayat says the purpose of human creation. Everybody is trying to find out the purpose in life. What is the goal? After they reach a certain stage in life, they want to know what is the purpose of life. But let me tell you how Rasulullah and Ahlul Bayt have explained to us. It says to accept the good, to keep away from the bad, and follow the right path. Ayyukum ahsanu amala. Who amongst you is ahsan in amal, in your actions, who's the best? Now, we can say that as a Shia, we have certain rules. Then we also say there are different communities, there are atheists and polytheists and whatnot. Everybody is doing certain good actions and bad actions. What differentiates you from others? You also read in Dua Kumail, it says, Afaman kana mu'minan kaman kana fasiqa. Isn't there a difference between a mu'min and a fasiq? What action you do, certainly both are good actions. But there is certain actions, there is limit to what reward he will get in this world. But when you believe in Allah and submit yourself to Rasulullah's risalat and the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen and the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, your actions become eternal. They just don't remain in this world, but the reward is beyond this. It's unimaginable. Inshallah, like as we move forward in the future majalis, I'll explain in a very simple terms those frequent Quranic surahs that we read every day, like as simple as Surah Kawthar or Surah Wal Asr. So when we say what is the purpose of creation, why not we ask Rasulullah what is the purpose of creation? In Surah Ashura, he's simply explaining us, قُلْ أَسْأَلُكُمْ أَجْرًا عَلَيْهِ إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. I do not seek anything from you but the love of my Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Isn't it, brothers? He's making it so simple. Now when Rasulullah says the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, the reason for me to bring up this ayat, especially on the first day, is we keep hearing from our elders who are, I'm not really being critical of the elders, but it's a feedback from the elders. They say, brother, we live in Western countries, we have so many challenges. The children go to, co-education, they have this drug problem, they have X problem, they have Y problem. To me, trust me, I have been working a lot with the youth. I've been talking to them. That's one of my passions. In fact, I took an opportunity to teach in one of the schools in Singapore, wherein I was paying my money to travel there. The reason my friends used to say, in fact, you should use your part-time to earn. What are you doing? I said, look, I have 2 children and I need to know how the younger generation actually thinks. The way they think and how they behave and what are the new challenges, because it's a lot of changes going on. Trust me, I found that the youth and the children of this generation are the best. You'll be surprised, and most of people are very pessimistic about them. But to me, trust me, this is the best generation ever we have got. And the youth of today, especially the age of like 13 to 18 or 21, I've been interacting in the last few years. And this is not out of just praising them or trying to lure them. It's the experience of the last 12 years. With those I've been working 12 years ago, the result is there for me to see. And if you really want to see the proof, then you can see on the day of Arba'in, the kind of crowd that goes in. You cannot imagine the kind of people that get there. That is the proof that where is our youth heading. Isn't it a surprising thing, when you organize a match or soccer match between 2 strong rivals in Sydney or England? I'm sure people watch soccer here, right? The kind of matches they watch, the police outnumber the audiences or the spectators. That's because they cannot control the crowd. Tell me which place on earth, which function, even there are marriages, which are happy occasions supposed to be. There is police everywhere managing the traffic and so on and so forth. What kind of miracle is this of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, where you have millions of people who are managing themselves? There are women, there are children, there is no stampede, they are so well organized. Isn't it the youth of today who is actually taking part and trying to organize these things? Somebody is serving water, somebody is trying to massage the feet of the zayars of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Therefore, in order to conclude this little paragraph, we have to be optimistic about, and they are the future generations. And it is very bad. Trust me, I'm making a statement here. It's not good to stereotype the generations who don't appear to be religious. For example, a girl may not be wearing hijab. Look, what is in the Sharia, black and white, I cannot really fight with that. What is the fact is fact. However, there are things that take slow process, but there are things which are quick fixes. For certain things, there are systematic changes, and it takes really a lot of time. Let me just give you a very simple example of how my father taught me to love towards the Quran. I'll give you a small example and then just get going with the majlis. How you love, for example, Ayatollah Khomeini, one of the books I was reciting, how you get a child to recite Salat. What you do is, you don't, for a 7 and 8 year old child, you don't teach him the wuzu. You only ask him to wash his hands and just come ask him to join you. No matter what he's doing, the first step to do is just wash his hands. That's the first step. And few months down the line, as he's getting used to the environment around the musalla, what happens? Then you ask him to wash his face. You look very nice, just comb your hair, come because we're going to meet Allah. And then as he goes towards 10, 11 years, 12 years, whatever age, then you ask him, this is how the wuzu is, because it's not wajib for him. However, you have already put him on a training track. Likewise, how my father did is, he said, look son, I don't want you to read Quran every day. I do not want you to read. He was an alim. I said, what sort of statement is this? He said, then just open the Quran, clean the dust, kiss it and keep it. Because Quran is nothing but the qasida or the nasheed of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. It's nothing, it's divided into the 4 parts. Inshallah, we'll go into the details of it. How the world has been trying to target Quran. If I ask a simple question, how many ayats are there in Quran? This is the assignment for today, okay? And the kind of the campaign that's run against Al-Quran, I have heard many of the alims who are saying that there are 6,666 ayats. Isn't that, brother? Let's make it more interactive. Have you heard how many number of ayats are there in the Quran? Everybody keeps saying 6,666. In no calculation, whether it's Shami script, whether it's Kufi script or Makkan script, or you take whatever, it doesn't go to 6,666. I'm sure the youth of today are so quick that what they're going to do is just Google it and check it. You can go check it. In no way is going to be 6,666, because that was a satanic number which the opponents of the Quran tried to do a misinformation campaign against the Quran, that these verses are not from Allah, but they are coming from shaitan and na'uzubillah, and that's why they say, okay, this is the number, and they somehow try to get to that. But under no way, the campaign is so heavily loaded, the media is so strong that we are made to believe this, that the ayats are 6,666. It is not. What I'm going to do is, inshallah, I'm going to tell you more about the details, how it is classified, and I come back to how my father taught. He said, open the book. And after I became like 14 or 15 years, what he said, look son, don't read 2 ayats. Pick up the last page, just say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, open the Quran and keep it. And I probably came to college at the age of 17 and 18. He said, don't read 2 or 3 ayats. Probably just, when you're interested, just take a few, read the meanings if you're interested. There's some interesting features in that, you may like it. And he just walks away. He's never forcing me to read. And as I grew up to the age of 19 and 20, when I used to sit on Sundays, I said, why not? When I just say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Qul huwa Allahu ahad, I said, that the next verse I already know. Allahus samad, lam yalid walam yulad, walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. That's it. I'm already done with the 4 or 5 ayats on that day. So when you plot a graph for yourself for a year in about 350 days of Islamic calendar, it's on one day you read, like during the Ramadan we recite the whole of Quran, and the other days your graph looks empty. If you read 1 ayat every day and it goes on for 350 days, look how good it looks. And that's why it is. You cannot read 100 rakats of salat one day and miss on the other day. Likewise is our ibadat. Trust me, that's the best thing. That's the Quran is the only thing which has never changed. The world might have changed, but the Quran has never changed. The meaning will never change. The principles will remain the same. What you do for the children is just ask him to open, kiss it, and just keep it, or recite 1 ayat, just say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm sure you are going to see the results down the line, and the child will be narrating to you why I'm insisting on this. Imam Ali said, when a moment, the lover of Ahlul Bayt recites Quran, each letter opens 80,000 doors of knowledge for that person. And if he reads again on the next day, each door opens another 80,000 doors of knowledge. That is for the moment. That is how it is. And if a moment keeps reciting the Quran, those words actually convert into the blood of a human being. And if he keeps continuing on the same path reciting the Quran, the blood converts into the flesh. The more and more he tries to recite Al-Quran, and that's how the whole of that person is trying to convert into the love of Quran. And tell me, why will that body be burnt in hell? You think hell is that the place? Of course, we know that all the Shia will go to Jannat. There is no doubt about it. But there is a period in between where we have a responsibility for us. And the easiest thing for us to do is just to keep away from sins. That's the simplest formula I can give. Let's recite aloud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And who are the Ahlul Bayt? Inshallah, we'll be explaining. I'm already past 10 to 15 minutes. But like I said, Surah Mulk says the purpose of life, why we are created: accept good actions, do not do bad actions, and keep on the straight path. And what Rasulullah is asking us is the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And we cannot say whether Brother Faraj or Brother Karara, the names I know are the people who are very religious and who are the ones who organize. I can tell you there are different types of contributions each and every person is doing. As a materialistic person, we have two things. We contribute by time, we contribute by money. Everybody says, okay, this is the weight of his person. One of the most important contributions a person does in a majlis is his consciousness. A lot of time when we want to shed a tear for Imam Hussain alayhi salam, when the lights are on, we are very conscious and we do not want to cry. We are keeping control ourselves because you know how it appears. I'm not usually this kind of person. Your consciousness and the way you selflessly you kind of contribute to the love of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, it's one of the biggest contributions. As I move on, you must have heard about the famous lines. We say, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Iza arada Allah bi'abdihi al-khayra qazafa fi qalbi hubbul Hussain wa hubba ziyaratih. Means, Iza arada Allah wills. Imagine when Allah is making an intention, Allah wills. Is the irada of the Allah. When Allah wants to love a person, any human being, any entity he wants to love, the first thing and the only thing he does is to plant the love of Imam Hussain alayhi salam in his heart. That's the first thing. And if you want to know Allah loves you, the first question you got to ask yourself is, do I love Imam Hussain alayhi salam? And I'm sure there's no person in this world who's the lover of Imam Hussain or no Shia will say that I do not. Everybody loves, but each one. And the best thing is how this faith is described. We cannot say the person appears to be religious and so on and so forth, is always into soccer and so on, and he keeps on doing sports, he's not religious. No. As long as his mind is connected to Allah, he is always in the state of prayers. Now, to keep it very simple for tonight, as a suggestion to my very little brothers, who I see some beautiful faces here, the little child, look how easy. You know, when we perform ablution, the wuzu, when a person sleeps or he gets, loses consciousness for a moment, the wuzu breaks. But Allah says, when you go to sleep, you perform wuzu, you are entirely for the 8 to 10 hours you're sleeping, you're in the period of prayers. How easy it is, the simplest action. Because the moment you do wuzu, or any of the youth or it's kind of a deterrent for all the waswasas, for all the shaitanic forces that are trying to keep your mind away from the love of Allah. So let's recite aloud salawat, brother. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And trust me, if you expect a sheikh or an alim to be here to give you a solution in 40 minutes or 25 minutes, everything, then that's a different thing altogether. The parents over here have worked hard so much. For the last 15 years, they have spent sleepless nights in bringing up the children. To my youth brothers and sisters, especially the young brothers, your parents have really spent sleepless nights to bring you here. The only goal in life is to make sure no matter what graduation you do, post-graduation, XYZ, but one thing they will always be proud about you is when they're happy, if their son on the days of Muharram, if he's reading Latmiya or doing Matam or mourning for Imam Hussain alayhi salam, the parents say, okay, all my efforts are now completed. I'm very satisfied that my upbringing has not gone astray. Because in the grave, there will be two questions definitely be asked to every person here. There will be two questions. One question is, where did you spend your youth? When you were young, where did you spend the time? That's one question. And the second question is for those who have children, they'll be asked, what kind of children have you left? And I'm really proud of the people who are here and all the Shias who make an effort to bring for the love of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Now let me recite. So that's one thing which we are all proud. Always keep asking whether you love Imam Hussain alayhi salam. He brings hope. Sometimes you may miss some prayers or some actions or not attending your family rituals. That's all right. But as long as there is a course correction in the mind, there is regret for the action, then there is a hope for salvation. There is a hope for respite from Allah. It's that, and never, with regards to the sin, people cannot gauge their sins small and big. You cannot say stealing $10 is a small sin and stealing $1,000. Any sin that is thought to be small by you is the biggest sin. If you think that's a small sin, that means you are underestimating the power of Allah. It's not with you. If Hur was a sinner before the 9th of Muharram, and the moment he crossed over to Imam Hussain, he became Hur alayhi salam. That's the love of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Imam Hussain, that's why he says, Inna al-Hussain misbah al-huda wa safinat al-najat. It won't be asked what kind of background you have come from, what you have done in your past life. As long as you close your eyes and run towards, you see the moon of Muharram and run towards the majalis and mourn for Imam Hussain alayhi salam, I'm sure the rest of the year will definitely go in a, you are the people who make this community beautiful. You are the future of this community. And I'm pretty much sure, I'm proud of this Shia who are working hard everywhere. And for the next 10 years, you will see people who will be leading. There'll be some mayors from the Shia community. There'll be somebody who will be heading the universities here. And trust me, the way of becoming an alim or sheikh is going to change. Before, they used to be a very formal, they will be wearing turban and the long coat. But the new generation will be more knowledgeable in the appearance, although they will be wearing a normal shirt, pant or t-shirt. However, in terms of knowledge and taqwa, they are going to be much more. And that's my hope, brother. Let's recite a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And a famous narration says, Abduka wa abna abdika wa abna amatik al-muqarrabul riq wa tarikul khilaf. I am your slave, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. We are saying to Imam Hussain, I am your slave. I am the son of your slave and I am the son of your maid. And O Aba Abdullah, O Hussain, at-tarikul khilaf. Ya Aba Abdullah, I restrain from those actions which you don't like. I avoid those actions which you dislike. I stay away from those people who are your enemies. And why? That's why we have gathered here, brothers and sisters, in the love of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And towards the last part of my speech, I want to say, you have heard the Maslow's theory, the purpose of life. I really don't want to go into that. But you have seen people who are backpackers, who are trying to find a purpose of life. Right? But it says, why have we been created? Why have we been created? A simple answer is, for the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. There is no other reason for us to say. And if you ask me the benefits of Azadari, inshallah, down the line we'll say. Towards the last part, let me just give you one last example and go towards a little bit of musibah and close in the last 5 minutes. Yeah, you see, when Ibrahim, the Nabi Ibrahim, was about to be burned in the hell, down the fire for Ibrahim to be rescued. Now, let me make it more easier and lighter for the newer generation. You know, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam was tied with the ropes and put into the fire. He was placed in the fire. And the fire cooled down. Very interestingly, the ropes that were tied by the enemies or the tyrant were burnt. But the clothes of Nabi Ibrahim, the clothes that he was wearing, did not burn. I was thinking on this and I asked the alims, when you say that when Allah gave an order to save Nabi Ibrahim, why did the clothes of Ibrahim did not burn? And why did the rope that was tied to him was not burnt? Then the Shaykh, the alim, explained to me that, look, the rope that was tied forcibly by the enemies to be attached to Nabi Ibrahim. But the clothes that he was wearing or the things that he had with him was by the willingness of the Nabi Ibrahim himself. Which means, to the tamassuk of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, no matter where the enemies of Ahlul Bayt, whether they are married to the family of Ahlul Bayt, whether they are buried next to Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, there's not going to be a shifa as long as there is a love from the other side. If you do it with love, Ahlul Bayt will accept you. If you try to forcibly get the way and barge into the door, you will be among those who burn down the door of Fatima Zahra Salamu Alayha and be burned inside the hell. Let's recite aloud salawat, brothers. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. You know, when Imam Hussain alayhi salam was born, it was the happiest day for this universe. And that's the only time I read in the history books that all the malaika had come down to give congratulations to Rasulullah. That was the happiest occasion. And when Fatima Zahra Salamu Alayha asked Rasulullah, the daughter of Rasulullah asked, oh father, the whole world is celebrating. People are getting their wishes fulfilled. But why are you crying? Why are you crying? Why do I see the soberness from your eyes? Why is your eyes filled with tears? This is such a happy occasion. Rasulullah says, oh daughter, do you know what happened a while ago? Oh dear Fatima, where a while ago Jibreel angel descended and he gave me the news that your son will be slain in the plain of Karbala. And baby Fatima did not ask her father that why Imam Hussain will be killed. But the only one question that she asked, whether my father, oh dear father, whether my son Hussain, when he will be killed, will you be available that time? Will you be alive? Rasulullah says, no Fatima, I will not be alive. Then Fatima asks, will Ali be there? Rasulullah says, no, Ali will not be alive. Fatima asks, will Hassan be around my son, or will I be around my son Hussein? Rasulullah says, no Fatima, Hussein will be all alone. Then who will cry for my son Hussein? Rasulullah says, oh Fatima, you don't worry, there will be a community who will be created. There will be a community who will cry for Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Allah will bless that community with a lot of blessings, brothers. And that's why I say this is the most fortunate gathering, and the people here are in the ark of salvation. And Bibi Fatima asks, and what will you be giving in reward to those people who cry for my son Hussein? Rasulullah says, oh dear Fatima, I am the Shafi Mahshar. I will make sure that there will be shafaat for those people who cry for Imam Hussain. That is why I say I'm hopeful of this community. One who come for a majlis of Imam Hussain, please respect them and welcome them. They are the angels on this earth. Then Rasulullah says, I am the Shafi Mahshar. Then she says, oh Ali, what are you going to give to the people who mourn for my son Hussein? Imam Ali says, I am the Saqi Kawsar. I will be serving them the jam of the Kawsar. She asks, oh Hassan, what will you give? What will you give to the mourners of Hussein? Imam Hassan says, I am the master. I am the master of the youth of the paradise. I will be blessing all the youth with my blessings, and I'll be serving them. Then Fatima says, oh Baba, oh Father, I will make sure that until the last person who mourns for my son Hussein does not go into Jannah, I will not be stepping into the Jannah. And then at the last hadith, brothers, when on of the day Abu Basir, one of the lovers of the Imam, he is in a majlis. When he's sitting in a majlis and the majlis is going on, Imam asks Abu Basir, oh Abu Basir, why have you not cried when the musibah of my son was being recited? Why have you not cried? Abu Basir takes out the cloth and shows, look, oh Imam, I have been crying so hard that the whole thing, the cloth has become wet. But then Imam says, oh Abu Basir, that is not enough. When you know how to cry for my son Hussein, always remember like a mother who has lost her young son and she's crying for her son. That is the way we mourn. And that's why I said the biggest contribution from everyone is your consciousness in the morning of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Allahumma arzuqna fi dunya ziyaratan Hussain alayhi salam. وفي الآخرة شفاعة الحسين الإسلام على لعنة الله إلى القوم الظالمين سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. Ya Allah, by the wasila of Parental Islam, bless all those people here and who are part of this majlis with all the happiness, prosperity in here and the hereafter. By the wasila of Parental Islam, may Allah bless, make the Jannatul Baqi construction soon as possible and bless us with the ziyarat of the Jannatul Baqi al-Islam. May our lives be in the service of Imam Hussain, and when we die in the service of Imam Hussain al-Islam.